So this is not a kid's party, but so at first I was going to take my bike, but then, and I told my mom this, which is a mistake. And she told me some story about how you needed a license for a bike, and the police would stop me. So I wasn't 100% sure if that was true or not, but I thought I'd better walk just in case. So yeah, I sort of thought I knew the way, but it was clear across town. So I don't know, it was 10 or 12 miles away. It's really quite far, further than I realized actually. And so I just started walking to my cousin's house. I think it took me about 4 hours. And just as my mom was leaving that party with my brother and sister, she saw me walking down the road and freaked out. And then I saw she saw me, so I then sprinted to my cousin's house, and I was just about 2 blocks away, and then climbed a tree and refused to come down.
Wow. So the first of many rule-breaking adventures for Elon Musk. So by the time you were 12, you were already an entrepreneur and making a profit. I understand you earned $500 equivalent in Rand for creating a video game. Can you tell us about that and what the inspiration was?
Yeah, sure. So when I was about 10, I walked into a computer store in South Africa and saw an actual computer. I previously had some early sort of precursors to the Atari system, and then I got the Atari system, which I'm sure a lot of people here have played. But then I saw you could actually have a computer where you could make your own games, and it was a Commodore VIC-20. So that was the first computer I bought, and then I got some books on how to teach yourself programming, and this was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So I was just like, this is super awesome. So I started programming games and then selling games in order to actually buy more games. So a bit of a circular thing. So and more games and better computers and that kind of thing. So
right. So
pretty much, I would say 0%. I would have said 0% chance.
What kind of kid were you? I mean, can you look back and see yourself? Were you a bit of a loner kid, bookish kid?
I wasn't all that much of a loner. At least not willingly. But I certainly was quite. I was very, very bookish. I was reading all the time. So I was either reading, working on my computer, reading comics, playing Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of thing.
And I understand Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that wonderful book by Douglas Adams. That was a key book for you. What was it about that book?
Crisis, and I was reading various books on trying to figure out the meaning of life and like what does it all mean? Because it starts seeming quite meaningless, and then we happen to have like some books by Nietzsche and Schopenhauer in the house, which you should not read at age 14. It's bad. It's really negative. But then I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it was like quite positive, I think, and it sort of highlighted an important point, which is that a lot of times the question is harder than the answer. And if you can properly phrase the question, then the answer is the easy part.
I see.
And so to the degree that we can better understand the universe, then we better know what questions to ask. And then whatever the question is that most approximates what's the meaning of life, that's the question we could ultimately get closer to understanding. And so I thought, well, to the degree that we can expand the scope and scale of consciousness and knowledge, human knowledge, then that would be a good thing.
Wow, so you were having these deep thoughts at what age, 10, 14?
They did not hatch.
Right. But by 17, you were on a plane from South Africa.
Yeah.
You'd had enough of South Africa. You were ready to seek new pastures. Now, why was it the United States was your destination? Why not Europe or somewhere else in the world?
Well, just whenever I'd read about cool technology, it would tend to be in the United States, or more broadly North America, or including Canada. So I kind of wanted to be where the cutting edge of technology was. And of course, within the United States, Silicon Valley is where the heart of things is. So, although at the time I didn't know where Silicon Valley was. It sounded like some mythical place.
Really? That's great.
So I wanted to come to the US. I tried to convince my mother or father, who were divorced, if either one of them would move to the United States, then I could get there. At one point I convinced my father, but then he reneged, unfortunately.
So you had him convinced, and then he changed his mind?
He did say yes, and then he changed his mind.
Why?
I don't know. I guess he was fairly established. He's an engineer. He was sort of established in South Africa and didn't want to have to go through that again in another country.
Right. So you got on that plane all by yourself at 17?